Raider Nation, how are we doing this evening? This is your boy Kaptain Spalding speaking. Coming in for the commish tonight. He's not feeling well. May he make a speedy recovery and feel a lot better. What's going on, Johnny? As y'all can see, started working on the new captain's quarters, the quarters themselves. Trying to get things right in here. But like I said, coming in here for commish, standing up for Raider ReACTION, strong and tall. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Sunny Ray? Hope everybody's having a good evening. We're gonna go back over the draft a little bit. Particularly the first pick. I think it's gonna go down to a 4-way. What's going on, Chris? I think it's gonna come down to a 4-way draw. Whoever comes off the board first. Number 1, I'm gonna go with Vita Vea. The guy is a monster. He is 6'4", I believe it said. He's about 320, 330. He ran a 5 flat, 5'1" at the combine, 41 bench press, 41 on the press. I mean, so that's pretty good to me. That means that he's going to draw up 2 people, while Khalil is free on the outside unless they got another double team for him with a tight end who isn't going to be able to block as nice as offensive lineman. So Mac's going to bust through them seams and take care of it. So you take that. Then we could go Smith out of Alabama or out of Georgia if we cannot reach a deal with Navarro Bowman, which I see as very critical. We need somebody in the middle of the defense that knows what's going to happen and knows how to call it out and knows how to prevent from anything escaping, anything seeping through past the way. I do apologize. Give me just one moment. Like I said, I do apologize. What's going on, Big E? Big Ear, my bad, baby. But like I said, 2 picks right there. Or we could go with cornerback Minkah Fitz, because if everything plays out the way it should, quarterback. I mean, Chubb, Barkley, those are players that are guaranteed going to be taken. Now, if a couple teams come up into the 10 and want to draft a quarterback, that's where a lot of doors open up to players falling to us, such as Derwin James and, like I said previously, Minkah Fitz. Now, Minkah is more of a cornerback hybrid type player, while Derwin is still that same hybrid type player that can come in and play cornerback, but he's most going to be right there in the strong safety spot. He's a big guy who I think could help push Obi to be that rover in the other middle, especially when we go with 3 prevent, have them 3 over the top. I mean, that right there is going to sell off everything, because I think those type of players could work together well and not get in each other's face or in each other's way, the same way E.T. and Cam Chancellor have been over the past couple of years. But I believe Carl Joseph could be a little bit better than E.T. He just needs to step it up and prove it. So, though that's what I'm looking at in the first. Chilling, bruh. But I mean, either way that goes, I believe our biggest need is on the defensive line, in the middle of the line, to help free Bruce Irvin and Khalil, because even if they're out there, middle linebacker ain't gonna help with the rush. I mean, middle linebacker is gonna help call what needs to be called, but at the same time, if we could get Navarro Bowman back, Vita Vea would be the best pick that we could go, no doubt about it. Even without Navarro, though, I still believe Vita will be the best way to go, because he's a big, strong guy who we can play a hybrid defense from, 3-4, 4-3, get Mac and Irvin out the dirt sometimes. I mean, if that's what we want to do. I mean, and really stand them up and send them in. Now, I know Mac comes best off the ground, but he doesn't only come from the ground. Because remember year one, rookie season, he was an outside linebacker then. Plus, he was in the dirt. That's what we need to go back to more. Now, Khalil can get hurt during pass plays because he's not going to really be out there. He doesn't know how to cover as good as, say, Von Miller. But Von Miller ain't nowhere near type of player as Khalil. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have no kind of idea what happened. Yeah. Like I said, man. Anyway that goes, we can solidify the linebacker position. It's one of many strengths in this year's draft at linebacker. If we didn't go after Roquan, like I said, we could go with Lorenzo Carter out of Georgia. Play with Roquan Smith. I mean, so he's been around. He knows what it takes to be that good. He knows how to be that good. But he's more of a developmental type of player. Say, took him in the second. Or we could go with another defensive lineman and Deshaun Hand or Arden Key. But honestly, I believe Arden Key will be there in the third round for us waiting. If he can stay out of trouble off the field, I believe he would be a fine specimen. Really, he's real raw, but at the end of the day, he reminds me a lot of Ezekiel Ansah and how he plays, because he's so explosive and he just fires right off the ball. He's going to have to pick up a little bit of weight, though, him being at 260. But I really think that he'd be there in the third round. Cornerback, we could go there in the second. Or we could hold off and maybe end up with J.C. Jackson out of Maryland by third, fourth round himself. And if he's there for the fourth round, we take him with the first pick that we have out of the four. So, but if we see some good old tape on him, I believe that he should be there in the third for us as well. So it's gonna be up in the air between Arden Key and J.C. Jackson, in my opinion, in the third. Offensive tackle is another strength position need that we need to beef up and strengthen up. Brandon Darden out of North Carolina A&T. He's 6'7". He's 307 pounds. He moves and strikes with very fierce and meaning behind everything he does. He is a project player, but I do believe that one day he could rise up and be a future Hall of Famer for simply not ever giving up and playing with all heart. I mean, it doesn't always work, but if you're that big and you're offensive lineman and you got heart and you're ready to fight, that's what you need. Start him at the right tackle. Let him go up against David Sharp. Preseason, minicamp, all that, everything. Fight him out and find who's the best right there in the right tackle spot. That's definitely something we need to work on. And not only that, but we need a backup for Donald Penn. He is getting up there in age. He did get hurt last year. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of steps we can take to avoid the same little defects that happened to us last year. But I will say this. I'm not pleased with the way we just let Captain Jack go. But in the sense of things, Chucky himself is the offensive-minded guru that most offensive-minded players and gurus go to themselves for tutelage, because this face, John Gruden, is a monster, especially out there on that field, especially out there on that sideline, especially running and handling the offense and doing what needs to be done. So that's why we got rid of Marquette Queen. That's why we was willing to let go of Seabass, I believe. But that hurt my feelings too, man. I ain't even gonna lie. But at the end of the day, he's getting up there in age, and he wasn't the same player that he was 5 years ago, 2 years ago. Age wears down on your body, especially when you are asked to do as much as what he's been asked to do, even though he's simply a kicker. You got to remember, he's the all-time leading franchise scorer of all time. I mean, and with that being said, I mean, hopefully he has good last year and being a sea chicken or whatever. But I mean, if you're not a Raider, I don't know. But once a Raider, always a Raider. I do know. Unless your name is Gerardus. What's going on, Pop? Eric Gehrig, JDR had no control. He made himself have no control. When he was unwilling to fire Ken Norton Jr. when he needed to, he should have known that Ken Norton should have never been the defense coordinator. He has never had that position nor that title at USC under Pete Carroll, nor anywhere else he has ever coached. All-time scorer, baby. But like I said, I mean, Captain Jack, I don't believe it was his fault. He made dumb decisions sometimes, but a lot of his decision making going forward on a lot of fourth downs. How many of them fourth downs did we get? How many other teams have that much success rate going forward on fourth down, especially near the goal line? Who you got? Who you got that's been more confident within believing in his team that they can go forward on fourth down and get it? Yeah, they done it twice in the Super Bowl this past year with the Cheatriots not coming up with it, and Nick Foles, simply because he was wide open. Now, I don't know how he got that wide open, but that's a whole nother discussion. But I think all that, Todd Downing should have not been the offensive coordinator. We should have went to go get a new offensive coordinator rather than trying to promote from within something that was working. Todd Downing and Derek Carr together, that was a good team. But you give Downing more responsibility. Him not ever playing, having the play call sheet. I mean, and then I mean, you could tell that he's never called no plays before, just from how off the wall and how simple his play calling was. I mean, it was a thing of just utter disgust. I mean, I've never been more upset by a play calling that, I mean, you do jive turkey plays down 1-2. Then you finally get an idea of how you gonna get a first down, and once you get that first down, you go back to it again, just calling trash plays and not trying to protect and not trying to block. I mean, and that's another thing too. They just didn't block for us last year. I mean, you too good to be getting Derek Carr hit like that. Exactly, Big L, because he knew that he didn't know how to call the plays. He might know how to control and manipulate that front seven, but that's two totally different things. Because if you're play calling off sheets of the correct formation, you line them up how you want to. Give somebody else the play calling ability, not somebody who's never done it. Appreciate it, baby. It's the bow, baby. But yeah, I mean, that's all it really came down to. And I mean, we should have been a lot better. We should have never had this record that we have right now. EJ Manuel should have stepped up and tried to win a game. I mean, he tried to, but then again, it all came back down to sorry offensive play calling, and defense couldn't do anything about it until we got Navarro Bowman back. I mean, until we got Navarro Bowman in the game. I mean, because once he got out there, once he was in the middle of that defense, everybody knew what was coming, and it wasn't nothing nice because they were scared. They knew they was gonna get hit then because we had somebody controlling the tempo of their offense by someone who knew how to control and manipulate everything else around him. Nah, that's that bow, baby. That's that bow. I take me a nice old Marshawn, dude. I always like Beast Smoke. But like I said, I mean, it just sorry offensive play calling and sorry defensive play calling, which really has nothing to do with Captain Jack. But at the end of the day, it was his head that he put on that table to get chopped. So you are right, but you got to look at it as the problems that was happening didn't start with him. Started with his decision making on who to trust and how much he trusts them. Ken Norton should have been demoted after his first year. Put him linebackers coach where he was supposed to been at. Then we could have went and got John Pagano or somebody else defensive calling. I mean, honestly, I would take Rex Ryan or Rob Ryan back any day. What's going on, Steve? Yes, sir. But, like I said, with Gruden coming back, Gruden have, man, I tell you this, the real reason that I'm real happy John Gruden's back, think about this. He's been sitting down, dissecting football, prime time football, which is supposed to be the best games of the week, looking at every team's strength and every team's weaknesses, dissecting them up for us. So you look at all that. You see how John Gruden knows what he's talking about. So what makes you think that when he comes in, he's not going to still know all them faults and all them strengths about every other team. Now, yet given, every year is a little bit different, but you still know what you're looking at, especially if you only lose 2 players, 3 players, something like that, or you bring in a big name that he's already watched, so he knows how to adjust to that team that had just built themselves up. Now, I believe that's what's going to give him the upper hand at looking at everything. The same exact way that John Lynch for the little whiners is looking at and drafting and going about his business. Which is one reason I'm real glad we get to see them little girls again. Also the one that brought. See, I ain't like Bill Musgrave. I thought we was trying to upgrade. Mike Tice, one of the best offensive line coaches there is. Now, I don't know if his system didn't work for the type of players we had, but then again, Kalichi Osemele comes from a man-to-man type scheme. It wasn't no zone. It was a straight brawl. Donald Penn, same thing. Rodney Hudson, same thing. I mean, things that they have grown with throughout their entirety of being in the NFL. I mean, Gabe Jackson the same way. The only real problem we had all last year was right tackle. But they didn't show it like that. Donald Penn and Kalichi Osemele, I mean, they was giving up unnecessariness. I mean, just like the game Derek Carr got hurt. But I guarantee you, John Gruden, they're not going to get done like that. Right, Popeye? Right, Popeye? But, just speaking some truth, man. I'm just glad that Captain Jack put us back in a position to where we were back in the mix. Now, John Gruden himself is going to put us all the way in there. Because I guarantee you a Super Bowl. I guarantee you 3 Super Bowls by the time Derek Carr retires. Why try to fix something that ain't broken? Because just because it ain't broken doesn't mean it couldn't be better. Just because that it's okay doesn't mean things couldn't be better. Doesn't mean things couldn't be greater. Doesn't mean that we get somebody who knows how to play and know how to send out play calls and know exactly what to do during every situation. Bill Musgrave did not have no idea about that. Greg Olsen, I'm kind of worried about. But then again, I liked some of those plays that he used to call out. And he's coming out of a new playbook now because John Gruden's in control. And John Gruden is going to get what John Gruden wants to do. In the draft, we need RAIDER. We need another tackle, yes. Definitely. Like I said, we go with Brandon Darton or Brian O'Neill out of Pittsburgh. He's a little underweight, but he's 6'6" at 298. I believe he ran a 4.9. Got a 27 bench on the bench press at 225. So I think either one of them in the 4th round, whichever one of them is available, we should simply go get him and take that And I mean, either way, Gruden Nation, Raider Nation, baby. Pro level, college level, basically sucked. Hey, I agree with you 100%, Bob Dar. That's what I was kind of skeptical about, but I thought the relationship that he had with Carr was going to supersede any kind of trouble that might have happened, but obviously that wasn't what it was. Yeah, and we need to pay Mac all day. What's going on, Matthew James? You say Penn's out the door. I say if he gets hurt, I agree with you. But for him to be out, we need somebody to be in. Unless we go move Colicchio Simile to that blind spot and go get another guard, which still leaves us needing another tackle. But what was you talking about? Yeah, definitely, Big L. That's what I'm saying. Either that or somebody who's serviceable enough to come in and play that right tackle spot to help David Sharp and let him grow, and they both grow together. Different series, switch them out, let them breathe, see what each other are doing, figure out who's better. Because if they're both good, I know David Sharp is pretty good, but we need somebody who's also proven, who's got the heart that we need out there, that's going to be out there and hit somebody on the run block. Because if we take them out, they're not going to want to come back in there. He's already hurt. I ain't read that nowhere, bro. But that normally is what happens. Play real good, get paid, get hurt. But hopefully that's not the case. But where was I? Third round, fourth round. Fourth round, we could go with a safety. If we did not take Minka or Derwin James, we got Marcus Allen out of Penn State. He's he should be there in fourth round, maybe fifth round. But he's a big guy. He's got a high motor. He's another guy that I feel that we could infiltrate Obi-Wan and him and mix them up, give different looks. I mean, and run it through like that. But I definitely think that we should take one of those four players in that first round at number 10. That's what I was saying, Bob. I was saying right there at the right tackle. But honestly, if he's the swing man, I believe with enough reps and enough understanding of what he's supposed to do, that there shouldn't be a problem with him switching sides and going to the left. You're right, Big L. But that's what I thought we was going to do, was switch it up. But he didn't do anything really different except make more dumb continuous play calls. I mean, and that's exactly why we lost every one of them games, just simply due to bad play calling. Because with our defense looking like it did last year until Navarro Bowman came up, there ain't no way around that. There is no way. Because we should have been up every game. We should have had at least 35 points a game. I mean, no doubt. Michael Krabby, Amari, Jared Cook, Marshawn, and two speed backs. there shouldn't have been nothing that got in our way from getting into that end zone. But it seemed like every week that's all it was. But this year, our offense is going to be right. This year, we're really going to come out with poise and dedication and determination to knock out anything and everything that gets in our way. Because you can take that one to the bank. I don't know about that, Papa. Beast Mode might have something to say about that. You're right, Big L. But like I said, if we did that, we would need to bring in another guard, which is a lot easier to find than a tackle. But we'll still definitely need that other side to be filled, because instead of just one player needing to be replaced or compensated by having someone halfway decent behind him, we're going to need 2 new starters, which is, to me, a little bit rougher. Roquan came from Georgia, baby. I'm telling you, Arden Key's going to be available in the 3rd round. Exactly. Sorry offense. Sorry offensive play calling. I don't know about that, Popeye. I ain't never heard no new beast mode. Biggest thing against Denzel Ward. Don't like Ohio State. Have a big reputation of coming out with a lot of bus. They got a lot of talent, but a lot of bus. Just simply due to the lack of will and desire to do what they need to do. Now, he said Roquan Smith came from Alabama. He came from Georgia. The real Death Valley is in Clemson, baby. Now, that's another thing too. Clemson's got a couple good little players coming out of there, but I believe most of them should be about 6, 7 round picks until next year. And Cleveland Farrell comes out, defensive tackle, and he's probably should definitely be in the 1st round. Not really. Yeah, Alabama does come out with a lot of bus, but the difference between their bus and Ohio State's bus is Ohio State has a reputation of every position being one. Alabama, defensive players from Alabama normally stand with the time, but offensive players, unless you're a lineman, tight end, something like that, you're not making it through. Exactly, Silver Sunshine. Anybody got any kind of questions or anything like that? Y'all gotta feel what I'm talking about. What I would do if I was the one making these draft moves. Would y'all be happy with what I'm telling you? Because, like I said, there's a lot of ways that this could go, and a lot of things that could make us a whole lot better. It's all good, Craig. I just messing with you, bro. Where we at? Okay, so Big L, would you rather take Edmonds rather than Smith? Would you take him if he was available? Even if Roquan was available? What would you take in the middle of the defense? If Edmonds is there, second round, like he should be, I believe, just simply due to his age, but he is good. He's a solid tackler. But what if Denver trades down? That won't hurt us at all. We'll still have one of the four that I'm looking at. And honestly, if they trade down, it's going to be to another team that sees a quarterback that they don't want taken off that board. So it's going to be pretty straight from there. Not that Bama McLean. Man, Big L, man. Rolando was fine, man. He's just crazy. I mean, there ain't too much stuff you gonna do for crazy. I mean, the guy was out of control. I mean, and I watched E60, and I saw some couple other little things on Rolando about how he lost all his support system and stuff when I believe it was his uncle that passed away or something like that that kept that football and that will to fight on. When he passed away, Rolando McClain lost all interest in doing what was right. And I mean, I'm not saying what he done or anything was called for or necessary, but I mean, you lose everything that you know and love, and somebody that's put you in a position to where you're making this kind of money, and you're doing it for them, but they're not there anymore. I mean, it should give you more of a desire to continue and do better things and to continue to grow as a player. But the real life situation of the thing is not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody's going to continue to fight when the one person that's been fighting for them just folds up and I mean, just dies. I mean, there ain't nothing you could do. See, I agree with that, Big L. My two that I'm looking at number 10 is Vita Vea and Derwin James. Those are my real two. But if neither one of them are there, I mean, that's what I would do. He is Bob, but is... Tremaine Edmonds is a freak of nature. 6'5", 250. Great athleticism, and can ultimately play 3 positions. I agree. But him being so young, he hasn't touched the potential. He hasn't fully grasped everything that he could do because he's so young. He's not had that as much football as, say, a normal 21-year-old would have, because that 21-year-old has them 2 extra years on him. Unless they just started football late. What's going on, Jonathan? But they said Patrick Willis was injury prone coming out of Ole Miss. I mean, and everything worked out fine with him. But if we can find a way to get Navarro Bowman back, you add that with extra defensive line help in Vita Vea, then you get a corner in the 3rd round, 2nd round. Like I said, J.C. Jackson out of Maryland, I like him. He's quick, explosive. He knows where the ball is at all times. And the only thing he's got really is just got to pay attention. Stop from making silly mistakes and putting hands in the wrong position. But there's one other guy at cornerback, Javier Jair Alexander out of Louisville, which is 5'11", 188 pounds. They're projecting him in the second round, but they're saying that he's hurt. The same thing with Garyon Conley, but it might not be the same injury. But, I mean, they were saying Garyon was hurt coming out, and plus all them CDV charges or whatever that he was facing at the time. I mean, he got off on, he not convicted of anything. So you take that. I think Alexander would be more of that slot corner. Him being at 5'11", I don't really trust a lot of short guys anymore at cornerback position, just simply because you're getting a lot bigger receiver now. And with him, he's a playmaker. I mean, for all day long, he's playmaker, interception king. He'll hit you. It's going down. Sharing means Karen Nation. Like I said, it's just what we need. Maybe I look at players a little bit differently because I watch a lot of college football, but I'm not a college football fan. Another defensive tackle that we could take is R.J. McIntosh out of Miami. He's very solid. He's 6'4", almost 300 pounds. He's got good speed. He's got good burst. He's got good hand placement. And most of all, he's nonstop. He's coming for you. And that's another thing with him, too, is I've heard a lot of rumors and speculation about him being hurt as well. But just remember, just because somebody says you're hurt doesn't mean that you're hurt, really. It just means that you're sore. You couldn't hold up one day when they was there talking to you, asking you to do these simple little things that any other day you could. Might be tight. Might just have a pull muscle or muscle spasm or just something little minor little things. Because those little things don't really make it out there. They're just going to say, oh, this guy's hurt. Or, oh, this guy's injury prone. But there's a lot of things that you can do to help prevent any of that happening. Especially like muscle cramps and things like that. But let's say you got a bad ACL. There ain't really much you're going to do for that. Besides ice. Make sure that is iced up and taken care of. But a lot of other things can be helped and avoided. I agree 100%, Popeye. We don't need nobody that's going to stand around and speculate on the sidelines. We need somebody that's going to come in, step it up, and show and push whoever's in front of them or whoever's behind them. But they need to be able to work off the same page together and look at it as a form of bonding between themselves, especially at positions that need work, like the defensive line, defensive tackle, most importantly. Because even if we do go and get Vita Vea, who's to say he's going to be healthy and able to play every single down? This is not college football, so he's going up against real men now. He's big enough. He's solid enough. But what happens when he gets tired? We need the next man up to come in and fulfill what he needs to do. Continue to fight, continue to move forward, and do not ever move back. Because, okay, look at this. New York, when they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl both times, their entire defensive line was a rotation of players except for Michael Strahan, and JPP. I mean, those were the only two constant, really, that was on the field. Now, you take them two out, what happened? They fell off the face of the earth. And even with JPP, they still fell off the face of the earth because you lost that beast, the one that held them all together. And Justin Tuck, my bad. I think the Raiders dropped back in the draft and taking of offensive line McGillany, or the lineman out of UCLA. Can't remember his name. Oh, do I have him on my board? I don't think so, buddy. I do not. I apologize for that. But what I do have is Isaiah Wynn, probably. If you wanted to take an offensive lineman high, I don't see many better than Isaiah Wynn, because we definitely don't need to take one in the first. But Isaiah Wynn in the second, or Brian O'Neill in the third, or Brandon Darton in the fourth. I mean, either of them offensive linemen there, I believe, could step in and fulfill a need that we need. Isaiah Wynn, I say, because he's more capable of playing left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle, rather than putting him at specifically one spot. But then again, if we don't have no starter, that's not necessarily helping us, except if Donald Penn goes down, and then we'll need somebody else to step it up. But Donald Penn goes down, flip Kaliche to the left, put him over on the left guard spot, Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson, and then we'll still need a right tackle. But I believe if that happened, if Donald Penn went down, say it's week 10 or say it's week 5, and he's going to be out until the beginning of the playoffs, I believe that David Sharp would hold up enough and give us enough to make it to where we need to go to get to what we need to get to, which is the Super Bowl. Because honestly, like I said, last year I swore up and down, but this time there is no playing around, because our offense is right, our defense is going to be better, and we're going to be a lot better off because we got players and we got coaches that know what they're doing now, instead of only the head coach having somewhat bit of an idea of what's going on. But you push that, and I believe every hole that we have can be fixed. Can be fixed. And see, that's what I'm saying, Sunshine. If we go Vita Vea in the first, Arden Key in the third, that leaves round 2 and round 4 open for whatever is best player on the board. And that could mean the offensive tackle, Isaiah Wynn in the second round. And then in the fourth round, we go get Marcel Edmond out of Oklahoma State. He's a real big guy at 6'4", almost 220. He's got good solid hands. He's a nice possession receiver. He's not going to drop a lot of balls. He's going to make sure everything works out the way it needs to work out. Because, God forbid, Jordy Nelson goes down, we really stuck. Unless we draft somebody that's going to be that big-time receiver. A big body with a lot of control. And that's one thing I noticed about Marcel Edmond. Especially in the, what was it? I forgot who they played in the bowl game. I believe it was the year before last. And, I mean, he was in full control of that entire game. He was so big compared to everybody else on that other team. I mean, yeah, you go into the NFL where there's bigger guys, but they're still going to be relatively the same because you start growing at what, 20? So that means, I mean, real good teams getting these players, getting big size players. So you take that. I believe he would be a nice solid number 2 if Jordy Nelson went down. But let's all pray and hope that Nelson has a resurgency with us over here in the Bay, in the Black and Silver, because that's definitely what we need him to do. We need him to pick it back up and get back to what he was before he got hurt last year. Just remember, after the draft, game happens all over again. Right? 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 What's going on, Matt? Colton Miller. Just hoping Chucky can keep us upright. Keep all the coaches in line. You know he's going to do that. On our schedule, we got the most travel miles. But the last time we had most travel miles, guess what happened? 12-4. John Gruden in control. 13-3. Going to be the best season yet. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. But for everything that I'm saying to work, we need to go get Navarro Bowman back, because he solidifies that middle of the defense captain role. I mean, he learned it from the best, Patrick Willis, Ray Lewis 2.0. So I mean, Navarro, he's just a little bit bigger, a little bit slower, harder hitter though. Right? True that, but they're still both smaller guys. I mean, to me, I'm one of those guys that likes a big time receiver. I like a big guy. Like, I mean, at least 6'4", 6'3", at least. I mean, Amari, he's superstar, but he's only 6'1". You got a cornerback that's 6'5", such as Richard Sherman. Who you think is going to win the jump ball? Them 4 inches come in handy, especially for the defensive side of the ball, because as long as it's in front of them, they know where it's coming to and they can knock it down. But without that, Amari still needs to bring that ball in. Amari still needs to work on them hands, but he's big, he's physical, and he don't need to come in to weight like he did last year, because he was extremely too big for that. I mean, he was still quick, all that, but you could tell that it slowed him down. Just that little half step, and Carr wasn't in sync with it all year long. But then again, Carr was also hurt all year long. Josh Chavez, you don't think we pursuing Bowman because we're going to draft a linebacker with our first pick? I don't know, man. Like I said, I believe Vita Vea would hold more importance to us just simply because he can control the up front. He can control the guard and center combo. He can push it in and leave leave Mack and Irvin out there on them edges. And the only thing we'll really need then is My bad. Yeah, 6'3". But still, there's still 2 inches there. I mean, and 2 inches actually a lot. I mean, my homeboy, he's like 6'4". I'm 6'1". So I mean, like, yeah, it adds up. True, Matt, he was hurt all last year too, but I mean, that weight didn't help him. Exactly, Big E. I don't know why I want to call you Big E. Big L. Bowman is that coach because he's been coached himself. I mean, he knows what it takes. He knows what it takes to get to the Super Bowl. Due to Patrick Willis' mentor and tutelage, it helped him grow all the way up there and be what he was supposed to be. I mean, was no starting right tackle and pin 1 foot in a boot. Any other in retirement, the Raiders moved back from the 10th spot and pick an offensive lineman. Offensive lineman like Notre Dame. They project he can play on the right side or left side, and Gruden is a quarterback guru that will want to protect Carr. Like I said, Bob, I don't like Notre Dame at all. So my solution for that, well, I'll put it to you like this. My number 1 offensive tackle this year coming out is Orlando Brown. But I wouldn't even really want him. Like I said, I'm more interested in Isaiah Wynn because he can play 1 through 5, no problem, no doubt, all the way. But you are right. If we traded back, there still could be a chance that Vita Vea would be there as long as we don't go too far back. If we go from 10 to 13, that guarantees us almost 2 other second-round picks, 1 this year, 1 next year. So we take that and still get Vita Vea, and with that other second-round pick, I don't know. That's what we need to do. We need Navarro Bowman. That's what I believe. Honestly. What's going on, Kellen? Nice to see you, baby. I meant to hit you up and tell you we was rolling tonight. Commish out sick, so. Josh Chavez. I believe Navarro Bowman is like 30 years old, bro. Which means at least he's got 5 more really strong good years in him, as long as he doesn't get hurt. So, them 5 good years, I believe we could put ourselves in a position to where we'll come out better with a better middle linebacker down the road rather than trying to upgrade from Navarro Bowman. But we need to go ahead and ink him up as soon as the draft is over. If we don't, it's a loss. But honestly, I still believe in Markel Lee. I saw him play at Wake Forest, and he was an absolutely freak. I mean, he was in there on every play and done everything. I mean, only thing is he needs to get a little bit faster. But what you do during camp, what you do during training, what you do during practice, match him up against the fastest guy that you have on every drill and let him go and see what he does. Exactly, Josh Chavez. And that's one reason that I don't want to give him up. I wouldn't want to just let him go. And that's the scary thing about trading back, going back, because there's no guarantee that whoever you went back for would technically be there unless you know what the other teams are going to do. Exactly, Matt. But then again, this is where Navarro Bowman comes into play rather than drafting anybody, because that's all we really need is a teacher, a tutor for players like Markel Lee, Nicholas Sparrow, all them. I mean, players that can live up to expectation and beyond it, and simply fight for everything that they have. Because if you're not just handed something and you had to work for it, especially right here, you know how long you're going to be good for? The rest of your life, the rest of your career. There won't be no stopping after that. Yeah, Corey James, he really could be. I like Corey James. But, like I said, he can't stay healthy. But with a starting caliber middle linebacker, Tahir Whitehead on the opposite of him, there's a lot of things that we could do. Did y'all see that we brought in Lamar Houston? I wonder if that would change Gruden's mind about putting Irvin in the dirt, or if not, simply change his mind. Would he be willing to do with him what Captain Jack done with Khalil and put him in the dirt unless 3-4 linebackers were needed in formation, and then he would be there outside. Lamar Houston on the other side in the dirt across from Mac. I mean, that's big body. That would make that true change of rotation. Because Lamar Houston, I believe he still's got at least 5 more good years in him. I mean, he was a beast until John Fox tried to make him a linebacker. Not to go off subject, but there's a lot of things that we could do to strengthen our lower tier and continue to get better. That's really what we need. Is look at it. Look at every team that wins the Super Bowl. They have more than one player at every position that can do everything that is required and necessary to win the games when they matter. And no matter the cost, by any means, they can do what they need to do. Like the Shigos this past year. Pedersen, he didn't put together all-star talent except for Alshon Jeffrey and DeMarco Murray. I mean not DeMarco Murray, but LeGarrette Blount. I mean, and everybody knows LeGarrette Blount ain't all that. He's just that monster power back. But Alshon Jeffrey, if he stay healthy, I mean, that's at least easy top 5 receiver in the league. At least top 7. And that comes from a Clemson fan. The boy came from Carolina. But like I said, what I was saying, I said something. I was going down something. But like I said, key thing this year, adding depth, building foundation outside of Carr and outside of Mac to work together and to stand together for the ends of time. For Carr is the future. For Carr is the way. For Carr, we trust. Up until that very day. But it's always good catching up with y'all, nation. And like I said, this is your boy, Kaptain Spalding, coming from you live from the captain's quarters. So I hope y'all enjoyed your flight.